Lonely Heart, A Gentle Soul's Journey Through Hidden Struggles and Silent Healing, by precious Cletus. Welcome, gentle soul. In this audiobook, we're going to walk slowly, honestly, through the pages of Lonely Heart, A Gentle Soul's Journey Through Hidden Struggles and Silent Healing. This isn't just a book you listen to once and forget. It's the kind of book you feel in your chest, in your memories, in that quiet place inside you that rarely gets a voice. This is for the ones who are always kind, but often overlooked. Feel lonely even in a room full of people. Swallow their anger, their needs, their tears just to keep the peace. Love deeply, but don't always feel loved back in the same way. In this audiobook, we're going to move chapter by chapter. For every chapter, you'll hear the heart of what the chapter is talking about, told like a story. The main lessons hidden inside it. Gentle, practical things you can start doing in your own life. And before each new chapter, I'll help you transition, reminding you where we've been and preparing your heart for where we're going next. So find a quiet space. Maybe you're lying in bed. Maybe you're on a long walk. Maybe you're just listening with your eyes closed. However you're here, you're welcome. Let's begin this journey together. Chapter 1. Always the Good One. Imagine a child who learns very early that the safest thing to be is good, quiet, helpful, not demanding, not causing trouble. That child grows into you. You're the one who forgives first, the one who listens when everyone else is talking about themselves, the one who says, "Don't worry about it." Even when your heart is quietly bleeding, people tell you, "You're so nice, you're so patient, you're such a good person." And on the surface, that sounds beautiful. But somewhere deep inside, it also stings. Because what they don't see is the exhaustion behind your smile. They don't see the times you bit your tongue to avoid conflict. They don't see the way you shrink your own needs so others can stretch out comfortably in the space you leave behind. In this first chapter, Always the Good One, precious Cletus gently exposes what it really feels like to be that person. The dependable one, the strong one, the I'm fine one. You've probably asked yourself questions like, why am I always the one who has to be the bigger person? Why do I feel invisible while louder, more selfish people get applause? Why does being good sometimes feel like being empty? This chapter doesn't attack your kindness. It honors it. But it also tells the hard truth. When your goodness is always at your expense, it stops being healthy. You are allowed to feel tired. Say no. Admit, I'm not okay. Want someone to show up for you for once. The heart of chapter 1 is this. Being kind is not the problem. Believing you must erase yourself to stay kind, that's where you start to break. You've been praised for your patience, but rarely seen in your pain. You've kept relationships intact by sacrificing your voice, your needs, your anger. And somewhere along the way, you started believing that your worth is in your usefulness, your self-control, your ability to stay calm while you're quietly drowning. But this chapter whispers a different story. You matter too. Not just as the helper, not just as the peacemaker, but as a human being with limits, needs, and a heart that gets tired. Lesson from chapter 1. Your worth is not something you need to earn by always being the good one. You are allowed to disappoint people by honoring your own limits. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. You're worthy as you are, even when you're messy, emotional, or not easy to deal with. What to do with Chapter 1 Practical Intake. As you take in this chapter, here are a few gentle invitations. Notice where you say it's okay when it actually hurts. Just observe it. You don't need to change it all at once. Just begin to notice. Try practicing one small no. It could be as simple as, "I'm really tired tonight. Can we talk tomorrow?" Or, "I don't think I can help with that this time." Ask yourself, if I treated myself with the same kindness I give everyone else, what would I do differently this week? You don't have to stop being kind. You don't have to become hard or cold. This chapter is simply asking you to become whole, to bring your own heart back into the equation. Now that we've met you as the good one, we're going to walk into a feeling that often follows people like you. A deep, quiet loneliness that doesn't always look like loneliness on the outside. In the next chapter, we'll talk about the kind of loneliness you can carry while you're smiling, working, laughing, showing up for others, yet feeling like no one truly sees you. If you've ever felt surrounded but unseen, loved but not understood, this next part is for you. Stay with me as we step into Chapter 2, The Loneliness That Follows You. Chapter 2, The Loneliness That Follows You. Let's walk into a room together. There are people talking, laughing, scrolling on their phones, sharing stories. You're there too, you're nodding, smiling at the right times, maybe even cracking jokes. From the outside, you look absolutely fine. But inside, it feels like you're behind glass. You're present, but you're not reached. This is the kind of loneliness Chapter 2 explores. The loneliness that doesn't announce itself with empty rooms or obvious isolation. It's quieter than that. It settles in your chest like a familiar weight. You can have friends. You can have family. You can have people who say they care about you, and still feel like no one really knows you. In the loneliness that follows you, the book gives language to that ache. The ache of being loved, but not deeply understood. The ache of being emotionally present for others, but not having anyone notice when you go silent. The ache of performing a version of yourself that feels acceptable while your truest self lives in the shadows. You may recognize this kind of loneliness in moments like when you send a long, vulnerable message and get a shallow reply. When you're in a group, but your thoughts feel like they're in another world. When you cry alone, wipe your tears, and go right back to being okay, so no one worries. This chapter gently names the reality that loneliness is not always about the number of people around you. It's about whether your soul is being seen. And for many gentle hearts, the world only sees your behavior. Your kindness, your calm, your support, but not your inner world. That kind of loneliness doesn't usually scream. It whispers. It whispers when you shrink your opinions so you won't be rejected. Stop speaking up because you're used to being dismissed. Keep reaching out to people who never really reach back. Over time, that loneliness changes shape. It can become silence. You stop trying to explain yourself. Resentment. You're tired of always giving more than you receive. Withdrawal. You slowly retreat into yourself because it feels safer than being misunderstood again. But this chapter doesn't just describe your pain. It honors it. It says, you're not broken. You're not too much for wanting deeper connection. You're simply someone whose heart is longing to be fully known. Lesson from Chapter 2. 1. You can be surrounded by people and still feel deeply alone, and that doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. 2. The loneliness you feel is not a character flaw. It's a sign that your heart craves real, safe, mutual connection. 3. Naming your loneliness is a powerful first step. It brings what's been hiding in the dark out into the light. Practical intake from this chapter. Here are some gentle steps you can begin to take. Step 1. Be honest with yourself first. You don't have to announce it to the world, but you can admit to yourself, I feel lonely, even when I'm not alone. That honesty is healing. Step 2. Start with one honest conversation. Could be with a trusted friend, a journal, or even in prayer. Share what you really feel, not just the polished version. Step 3. Notice where you're pretending. Where in your life are you performing being okay so others don't feel uncomfortable? You don't have to rip off the mask in one day. Just start becoming aware of where you wear it. Open a tiny door. Next time someone asks, "How are you?" Instead of saying, "I'm fine," you might try, "I'm okay, but honestly, I've been feeling a bit heavy lately." You're inviting real connection instead of rehearsed responses. You don't have to fix your loneliness all at once, but you can start by letting yourself feel it without shame, and gently testing what it would look like to be a little more seen. So far, we've explored what it means to be the good one, and the kind of deep, quiet loneliness that can live under that role. But there's another emotion that often hides beneath kindness and loneliness, one that many gentle souls have been taught to fear or suppress: anger. In the next chapter, we'll talk about what happens when you've held in too much for too long. When your heart, tired of being quiet, finally says, "Enough." We'll explore how anger is not a sign that you're a bad person, but a sign that something inside you needs to be heard, healed, and protected. If you've ever felt guilty for feeling angry, or scared of what your anger might say about you, stay with me. Let's move into Chapter 3, When Anger Becomes the Villain. Chapter 3, When Anger Becomes the Villain. Take a breath with me. We've just walked through what it means to be the good one, and the quiet loneliness that can follow you everywhere. Now, we step into a feeling you might not be comfortable with, a feeling you may have been taught to fear, hide, or feel guilty about: anger. For someone like you, a gentle, sensitive, peacekeeping heart, anger can feel wrong, not just unpleasant, but almost sinful. You were taught to stay calm, to be understanding, to forgive quickly, to avoid conflict. So you did. For years, you let little hurts slide. You swallowed cutting words. You brushed off disrespect and told yourself, "It's fine. They didn't mean it." But anger isn't a fire that disappears just because you refuse to look at it. It goes underground. It sits in your chest. It hides in your tight jaw, your sleepless nights, your sudden tears over small things. In this Chapter 3, When Anger Becomes the Villain, we witness what happens when a gentle soul finally reaches the limit. One day, something small cracks the surface. A comment, a disappointment, a repeated pattern, and suddenly, the anger you've been suppressing for years bursts through. Maybe you say sharp words you didn't mean, shut down completely and go cold, walk away and slam a door, shocking even yourself. And almost immediately, the guilt arrives. What's wrong with me? I'm supposed to be the calm one. I'm no better than the people who hurt me. But this chapter lovingly tells you, no, your anger doesn't make you a monster. It makes you human. Anger is a signal, a messenger. It's your heart's alarm system saying, something is not okay. A boundary has been crossed. I've been holding too much for too long. The real problem isn't the anger itself. It's what happens when you ignore it, bury it, shame yourself for even feeling it. When anger has no voice, it either explodes outward in unhealthy ways, or it turns inward, becoming self-hatred, depression, or constant self-blame. In this chapter, you're invited to sit with your anger instead of running from it, to ask it gentle questions. What are you trying to protect? Where have I been hurt and pretended it didn't matter? What boundary is missing here? You're reminded that you can be kind and still say, that's not okay. Gentle and still have boundaries. Soft-hearted and still refuse to be disrespected. Your anger is not the villain of your story. It's the part of you that's fighting for your worth. Lesson from Chapter 3. 1. Anger is a sign that something important inside you needs attention, not a sign that you're a bad person. 2. You can honor your anger without hurting others, by listening to it, setting boundaries, and speaking your truth calmly. 3. Ignoring anger doesn't make you holier. It makes you more wounded. Healing begins when you allow yourself to feel without shame. Practical intake from this chapter. Here are a few gentle practices you can try. 1. Name one thing you're secretly angry about. Say it in a whisper if you have to. Write it down. I'm angry that they never apologized. I'm angry that I was always expected to be strong. I'm angry that my needs were ignored. 2. Give your anger a safe outlet. You might journal without censoring yourself. Cry. Go for a walk and let your feet move the emotion. Pray honestly, God, I'm angry. Help me understand this. 3. Practice a boundary line. Something simple like, I don't feel comfortable with that. I need to stop this conversation here. I can't keep doing this the same way. First, your voice may shake. That's okay. Boundaries are like new muscles, they strengthen with use. You are not losing your goodness by feeling anger. You are protecting your goodness by listening to what your anger is telling you. We've now seen your anger not as a curse, but as a messenger. But what about the pains that never got closure at all? What about the moments when someone hurt you deeply? You opened your heart. You explained your pain. You saw regret in their eyes. And still, those two words you longed to hear never came. I'm sorry. In the next chapter, we'll step into one of the hardest places for a lonely, gentle heart. The apology that never came. If you've ever waited for someone to admit what they did, if you've replayed conversations again and again, wondering if you imagined your own hurt, stay with me. Chapter 4 will help you understand what to do when the apology you needed never arrives, and how to begin healing anyway. Stay tuned as we move into Chapter 4. Chapter 4. The apology that never came. Picture a moment where you finally gathered all your courage. You decided, I can't keep swallowing this. I need to speak. Your hands shook. Your voice trembled. Maybe your eyes filled with tears. You told someone how much they hurt you, what their words did to your heart, how their silence made you feel abandoned, how their actions broke a part of your trust. You weren't attacking them. You were simply honest, vulnerable, bare. And when you were done, you saw it, a flicker in their eyes. Maybe sadness, maybe guilt, maybe recognition. You waited. You expected. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. I see now how much that hurt you. But instead, there was silence. A change of subject. A half-hearted, "You know I didn't mean it like that." Or even a defensive, "You're overreacting." The apology never came. In Chapter 4, The Apology That Never Came, we sit in that silence. The kind that doesn't just end a conversation. It lingers in your chest for months, even years. When someone refuses to truly acknowledge your pain, something painful happens inside you. You start to question your own reality. Was it really that bad? Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I misunderstood everything. You begin to doubt your own memories, your own feelings, your own needs. The wound doesn't just come from what they did. It comes from what they refused to admit. You stand emotionally on a dock, waiting for a ship that has already sailed. You stare at the horizon of their maybe one day, hoping that at some point they'll finally say what you needed to hear. But time passes. They move on. You're still waiting. This chapter doesn't pretend that's easy. It doesn't say, "Just get over it." Instead, it gently helps you see, an apology is more than words. It is recognition. It is validation. It says, "I see what I did. I see how it affected you. I take responsibility." When that never comes, a piece of you feels unseen and unfinished. But here is the turning point of Chapter 4. You might never receive the apology you deserved, but you can stop letting that absence hold your healing hostage. You are invited to step away from waiting for their words, and instead, offer the words you needed to yourself. To look at your reflection, or your journal, or your heart, and say, "I'm sorry this happened to you. You didn't deserve that. Your pain was real. You mattered then, and you still matter now." You are not saying what they did was okay. You're not erasing the story. You're simply refusing to stay frozen in a moment they refuse to repair. You begin to understand. Forgiveness, in this sense, is not about letting them off the hook. It's about letting yourself step off the dock and walk into your own future. Lesson from Chapter 4. 1. The absence of an apology can hurt more than the original wound, but it does not erase the truth of what you felt. 2. You don't need someone else to name your pain for it to be valid. Your heart's experience is real, even if it's never acknowledged by the one who hurt you. 3. Part of healing is giving yourself the compassion, validation, and "I'm sorry this happened to you," that you never received from them. Practical intake from this chapter. Here are some gentle steps you can begin. Step 1. Write the apology you wish they had given you. Not to send, just to free it from your chest. Let it sound like, "I'm sorry I made you feel small. I'm sorry I didn't listen when you needed me. I'm sorry I made you doubt your own worth." Step 2. Then respond to yourself. From your own voice, write or whisper, "You didn't deserve that. Your feelings were real. I believe you." Step 3. Practice releasing the expectation. This doesn't mean pretending you're not hurt. It means slowly loosening your grip on the idea that they must heal you. You can even pray, "God, I release my need for them to fix this. Help me heal, even without their apology." Step 4. Fill the space they left with kindness toward yourself. When resentment rises, let it remind you, "I am worthy of better. I am allowed to move forward. You're not weak for wanting an apology. You're human, but you're also powerful enough to begin healing even if that apology never comes. We've walked through your kindness, your loneliness, your anger, and the silence of apologies that never came. Next, we'll go even deeper into a pain many carry from childhood into adulthood. Feeling like the world has bullied you, misunderstood you, and left you feeling loved by none. In Chapter 5, we'll talk about being the quiet one who became an easy target. How constant teasing and criticism can shape the way you see yourself. And how to reclaim your identity from the lies others tried to tattoo on your soul. If you've ever felt like the odd one out, the one nobody defended, the one always on the edge of every group, stay with me. Chapter 5. Bullied by the world, loved by none. May feel close to the bone, but it will also remind you of a powerful truth. You were never unlovable. You were just surrounded by the wrong voices. Chapter 5. Bullied by the world, loved by none. Imagine growing up as the quiet one, the soft one, the easy target. People called it teasing. They said you were too sensitive. But they never saw the way your stomach dropped when your name became a joke. The way you cried behind closed doors. The way you slowly started believing their words. In Bullied by the World, Loved by None, we step into that ache, not just the pain of cruel words, but the pain of no one defending you. Not friends, sometimes not even family. Over time, their voices became your inner voice. Maybe I really am weird. Maybe I'm not worth defending. Maybe I'm hard to love. This chapter gently untangles that lie. It reminds you that your quietness was never weakness. Your sensitivity was never a flaw. Their cruelty spoke more about their brokenness than your worth. You're told a sacred truth. You are not unlovable. You've just been deeply wounded by people who couldn't see you clearly. Lesson from Chapter 5. 1. Other people's bullying is not proof of your value. It's proof of their own pain and immaturity. 2. You are not too sensitive. You are deeply aware and open-hearted. 3. Healing means reclaiming your identity from what others said and choosing to see yourself through kinder eyes. Practical intake from Chapter 5. Here are the practical steps to take. Step 1. Notice which labels you still carry from the past. Too much, too quiet, weird, awkward. Ask yourself, who first made me feel this way? Do I want to keep believing them? Step 2. Write down a new identity line. I am not what they called me. I am, and finish it with words you choose. Gentle, thoughtful, deep, compassionate. Step 3. Begin to set an inner standard. If someone treats me like I'm less than human, I am allowed to step back. You are not what they said. You are so much more. Now that we've seen how the world tried to crush your softness, the next chapter shows what happened when you pulled away, when you found a strange kind of comfort in being alone. In Chapter 6, we'll explore how solitude became your quiet refuge, not as a prison, but as a place where you started to find yourself again. Stay with me as we move into Chapter 6, The Comfort of Solitude. Chapter 6, The Comfort of Solitude. First, you didn't choose to be alone. People drifted away. Life got loud and disappointing, so you pulled back for protection. But somewhere in that quiet, something unexpected appeared. Peace. In the comfort of solitude, we see how loneliness slowly transformed into solitude, not emptiness but sacred space. Alone, you hear your own thoughts clearly. Realize your worth doesn't depend on who texts you back. Learn to enjoy simple moments. Making tea, walking alone, reading, journaling. You discover that being by yourself is often better than forcing yourself into shallow, draining connections. This chapter doesn't say you don't need people. Simply says, you don't need the wrong people just to avoid being alone. Lesson from Chapter 6. 1. Solitude can be healing. Time alone can reconnect you to your true self. 2. Being at peace alone is better than being broken in unhealthy company. 3. When you learn to be your own safe space, you become less likely to settle for fake safety from others. What to do with Chapter 6? Practical intake. Here are helpful steps to take. Step 1. Create one small solitude ritual. A daily walk, candle plus journaling, tea in silence. Something that's just for you. Step 2. Instead of saying, I'm alone, try telling yourself, I'm with myself right now. Notice how that feels. Step 3. Start becoming more selective. Ask, do I feel more myself or less myself after spending time with this person? Let the answer guide who you let close. Your alone time is not a punishment. It's preparation. But even in solitude, there can be another kind of prison. Not made of people, but of thoughts. In the next chapter, we'll step inside the restless, racing mind, the anxiety, the what-ifs, the overthinking that never seems to stop. If your mind ever feels like a cage instead of a home, Chapter 7, Anxiety, Worry, and the Mind's Prison, is for you. Stay with me. Chapter 7, Anxiety, Worry, and the Mind's Prison. You can be sitting in sunlight with life around you and still feel trapped inside your own head. This chapter calls anxiety what it often feels like: prison without walls. The doors are made of, what if they hate me? What if I fail? What if something goes wrong? You replay conversations. You overanalyze texts. You relive small embarrassments over and over. Chapter 7 gently explains, anxiety is not proof that you're broken. It's your mind stuck in overprotective mode. You're invited to see anxiety not as your identity, but as a process, something happening in you, not who you are. The chapter offers practical keys to this mental prison. Naming your fears, questioning the evidence behind them, grounding yourself in your body, taking small, brave steps instead of constant avoidance, and most importantly, treating yourself with compassion instead of attacking yourself for feeling afraid. Lesson from Chapter 7. 1. Thoughts are not facts, and worry is not prophecy. 2. Anxiety doesn't define you. It's an overactive protection system that can be calmed and retrained. 3. Small practices, breathing, journaling, moving your body, sharing with a trusted person, can slowly unlock the prison door. What to do with Chapter 7 practical intake. When you feel anxious, try saying, I notice I'm having anxious thoughts, instead of, I am my anxiety. Write down one major what if, then ask, what's the actual evidence this will happen? Ground yourself for 30 seconds. Feel your feet on the floor. Slow your breathing. Name 3 things you can see and 3 things you can hear. Consider support. A therapist, counselor, or wise mentor can help guide you out of mental loops. You don't have to do it alone. Your mind may panic, but you are more than your panic. We've talked about the battles inside your mind. Now we turn to one of the most tender battles of all, the battle to feel truly loved. In Chapter 8, we'll talk about being the unloved lover, the one who loves deeply, gives thoughtfully, shows up fully, but doesn't feel that same warmth coming back. If you've ever felt like you love more than you're loved, stay with me for the next chapter. Chapter 8, The Unloved Lover. In this chapter, we meet you as the one who loves with your whole heart. You remember the little things, their coffee order, their favorite song, the tough days when they need a message or a call. You give love in 100 quiet ways, not to get rewarded but because that's who you are. But slowly you notice a painful truth. Your love doesn't seem to land the same way. They're distracted, distant, polite, but not deeply present. You start to think, maybe I'm too much. Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe I shouldn't have loved this hard. Chapter 8 doesn't shame you for loving deeply. Instead, it gently reveals, your love is not the problem. Their inability or unwillingness to receive and reciprocate it is. You're invited to stop blaming your heart and start recognizing your needs as valid. Affection, effort, communication, mutual care. This chapter walks you through reclaiming your worth, naming what you need from love, setting boundaries when you're chronically underloved, walking away if necessary not because you don't care, but because you finally do care about yourself. You rediscover that the greatest love you can build on is the love you first give to yourself. Lesson from Chapter 8. 1. Loving deeply is not a flaw, it's a gift. 2. You are allowed to want mutual, emotionally safe, consistent love. 3. Self-respect sometimes means stepping back from people who keep taking your heart in fragments. What to do with Chapter 8, Practical Intake. Write down what healthy love looks like for you. Love feels like being listened to, being considered, being safe, being prioritized. Ask yourself, if a friend I loved was being treated how I'm being treated, what would I tell them? Take one step toward self-respect. Maybe it's a hard conversation. Maybe it's taking emotional distance. Maybe it's choosing solitude over half-hearted connection. Your heart is not too much. It just deserves a place where it can be held with the same care it gives. From the unloved lover. We arrive at the you that is emerging through all this pain. The you that keeps going anyway, keeps loving anyway, keeps healing quietly. In the final chapter, we'll see you as the quiet warrior, the one who doesn't need to be loud to be strong. Stay with me as we close this journey with Chapter 9. Chapter 9. Becoming the Quiet Warrior. You don't wear visible armor. You don't shout your story. You don't announce your battles. But you are still here, and that alone makes you a warrior. This chapter honors everything you've survived. The burden of being the good one, the loneliness no one saw, the anger you were afraid to feel, the apology you never got, the bullying, the solitude, the anxious mind, the loves that didn't love you back the way you needed. Through all of it, you did not let your heart turn to stone. You stayed soft, You learned boundaries. You began to understand your worth. A quiet warrior doesn't fight with noise. A quiet warrior fights by choosing not to become cruel, even when hurt, leaving when they need to instead of staying where they're crushed, saying no when their soul is tired, allowing themselves to rest, to heal, to grow. You no longer need to explain why you are careful, tired, or guarded. Your survival is explanation enough. This chapter gives you a name the world didn't. Warrior. Not because you're perfect, but because you're still here. Lesson from Chapter 9. 1. Strength doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it looks like quietly continuing. 2. You don't owe anyone proof of your battles. Your existence and growth are proof enough. 3. Your softness, boundaries, and honesty are not weaknesses. They are the marks of a quiet warrior. What to do with Chapter 9 Practical Intake. Acknowledge yourself. I've survived a lot. I am stronger than I realize. Release the need to be understood by everyone. Focus on living truthfully, not on convincing people. See your softness as your power. You can care deeply and protect yourself at the same time. You are not here just to endure the world. You are here to bring healing, light, and truth into it, starting with yourself. We've finished the chapters, but the book doesn't end there. It closes with a personal letter, from one lonely heart to another. In the conclusion, you're reminded of everything you've forgotten about yourself, and gently invited to keep going. Let's move into the final part, a letter to the lonely heart. Conclusion, a letter to the lonely heart. Here, the voice of the book turns directly to you. Dear heart, I see you. Not just the face you show, but the tears, the exhaustion, the courage it takes to stay kind. You're told clearly, you were never broken. You were never too much or not enough. You are simply human with a tender heart in a harsh world. The letter doesn't pretend that loneliness disappears easily. It admits the ache comes in waves, but it also reminds you, you are not forgotten, not by God, not by love, not by the quiet, kind people who are just like you. The conclusion calls your heart a light, a compass, a miracle. It invites you to hold yourself gently, rest when you're tired, cry when you need to, keep choosing even the smallest flicker of hope. You're reminded, you are not just surviving, you are blooming. Lesson from the conclusion, you are deeply seen and deeply loved, even when you don't feel it. Your journey is not over. You are still becoming. You can walk forward one step, one breath, one heartbeat at a time, and you are not walking alone. If you're still here with me, you didn't just listen to an audiobook. You walked through a journey with your own heart in your hands. You visited the parts of yourself that are often ignored, the good one who's tired, the lonely soul in crowded rooms, the anger you were afraid to feel, the wounds that never got an apology, the bullied child, the quiet adult who found comfort in solitude, the anxious mind, the unloved lover, and finally the quiet warrior you are becoming. I want you to hear this one more time before you go. You are not too sensitive. You are not weak. You are not invisible. You are a gentle soul in a loud world, a quiet warrior learning to heal, a lonely heart that was never truly alone. If this audiobook spoke to you, even in one small part, let it be a reminder that your story matters. Your feelings are valid, and there is nothing wrong with having a soft heart in a hard world. Take a moment now, if you can. Put a hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. You made it through every chapter. You stayed. You listened. You felt. That is not nothing. That is courage. Now, if you'd like this kind of gentle space to continue in your life, I invite you to stay connected, like this video if it comforted you or helped you feel seen. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future readings, reflections, and gentle encouragements just like this. Share this audio with someone you sense is struggling quietly. A friend who's always the strong one, the quiet one, the kind one. You never know whose heart you might be saving a little by sending this. And when the nights feel heavy again, when the loneliness returns, or when you just need a soft voice to sit with you, come back to this audiobook. Let it play in the background while you rest, journal, or cry. Use it as a reminder. You are seen. You are needed. You are loved.